Welcome to your Daily 5 for Monday, May 19th, 2025. You may remember that I did a 5 last week or the week before about an ad that Google, I don't even know if it was ever put into anywhere but on the internet, but it was put around or it was shopped around and some people were commenting on it. And I said in that 5 it was a really dumb ad, not only because the ad itself didn't seem to have much of a point, but also because I didn't think that that type of ad was something that was going to get anybody to convert over from one phone OS to another. And following that, I've kind of on and off been thinking, well, what would get somebody to move from one OS to another? Because honestly, at this point, almost any phone in whatever category you're looking at, low, mid, high range, or high end, I should say, they're all going to have roughly the same features. I know people like to do these camera shootouts, but I don't think most people really care about the camera anymore. They're all very good. They all have enhancement features. They all have the same kind of things that you can tweak. So I don't even think people care about the camera so much. And so I was left wondering what would actually get somebody to think about switching from one OS to another. And it just so happened I saw an article, because I tend to skim through different sites just to see if there's anything interesting. And over on 9to5Mac, they had a rumor replay for the iPhone 20th anniversary edition. And honestly, I didn't really care at all about that article or what it was talking about, or a 20th anniversary iPhone. But there's an image used in that article that shows an iPhone with this really striking multicolor design. And I thought, and this echoes some things that kind of Michael Fisher, Mr. Mobile's talked about, and others have talked about with the stagnation in technology design, and how everything looks the same, and lots of things have the same shade of gray or silver, which is really gray, that they call black, but it's really just gray, or it's a darker gray or a lighter gray that they'll call space gray, but it's still gray, and how everything just kind of looks and feels the same. And I thought, that's the thing. Just looking at this mocked up image, which I don't think is based on anything real, of an iPhone with all these wonderful colors on it, and thinking about how Apple products used to be colorful and interesting and fun to have, and how they've largely kind of literally bled all the color out of them. This is a thing I think would actually work. I think if Apple were to come out with a phone that had this kind of weird and wonderful design, if it was something like this or something similar that you'll see in the image, that would actually be something compelling. Because let's be honest, what is really different between, let's say, a high-end Android phone and a high-end iPhone? Now, you could say the ecosystem, sure, but the reality is even the ecosystem isn't as big a deal in many ways to most people as it used to be. Because, again, there's so many ubiquitous apps and services that do all of that type of synchronization online or through an account login. Yes, don't get me wrong. There are things about the Apple ecosystem that are superior. But I don't know that those things are really that convincing to people who aren't already familiar with and want to stay inside of that ecosystem. Is AirDrop nice? Sure. But the reality is I can do the same type of sharing of files between Android and an Apple product, just not using AirDrop. It's not like there aren't solutions for that. Are they as elegant and are they as smooth as Apple sometimes? No, but it's not like they're a real headache either. So again, I don't know what really is compelling that makes somebody want to switch. And I certainly don't think that it's going to be, an ad saying the features were copied or whatever. And I don't even know it's saying there's a camera that adds 30 more megapixels to your iPhone or a fourth lens that does whatever. Outside of people who are into photography anyway, I don't know that that's compelling anymore either. Instead, it's going to be the expressiveness of your device and how it makes it feel like it's something that's unique to you. I talked about this when I was talking about the Plantastic Potheads and how the idea of getting something that is crafted that nobody else has, that's something special. Now, you're not going to get that in a mainstream product, but if there is some kind of identity to these things, if there's something that makes it feel different and fresh and new, that could be the one additional piece that gets somebody to switch. Now, I don't know if that would be it either. I just wonder if we're past the point of getting somebody to actively switch unless they're compelled to by a defect as opposed to something that they want. But visual design, the way the product is and feels and relates to you, that might be the last thing left that could get somebody to stop and look twice. So I don't know, but like I said, I saw this image and that's what came to my head, so I thought I'd share it. Later.